Stop. Can you just...
Yes, there are more new goats in my barn. And I don't know if it's an October thing, but around this time last year, I brought in 2 new does to my farm as well. I had them brought in from Missouri from Windmill Acres Farm. And I love Mo and I love Haley, and I'm super excited to have Mo bred this year. Haley gave me squeakers, so I'm super happy about that. But these 2 are from a good friend, Emily at Flutterby Farm. And she has some amazing stock. I got these girls because I really love their dams. Their dams come from Hobbycroft Farm, and they have some really, really nice lines. These are both Talamash babies, which means they're out of Old Mountain Farms Talamash. And right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of just sitting in here like I do with all of my new goats when they're kind of going through like this quarantine. These guys are a softer quarantine just because I know they come from a very well-tested farm, and these guys seem just a little bit more scared to be in a new place, which is totally fine. They've been in one home and loved dearly for the whole portion of their life. So coming to a new farm can be super duper stressful. You like them? Do you like them? I'm pretty sure they think you guys are treats. But you are all a treat to have here on the channel. But I'm just doing the normal thing, which is kind of talking around them, a normal talk, nothing elevated, nothing too low, just so they can get used to the sound of my voice. And I'm just sitting in here with them. I'm not trying to touch them. I'm not trying to force pets or scritches, even though I really want to, guys. But sometimes it's really important when you have new goats like this that seem like they're not quite sure about their new surroundings, which is super normal for new goats on a new location, a new farm. So they just get used to you being around and that you're not always asking something from them. Goats are small ruminants, and small ruminants usually are prey animals, which means they respond a lot to what's called pressure and release. When you pressure these guys, their normal habit is going to be to move away from you. Same with horses. That's how they establish dominance. Whoever moves their feet first is low man on the totem pole. So I'm just in here and I'm not giving them any pressure. I'm just letting them exist around me so they can kind of get used to me being in here, that I'm not pressuring them, I'm not pushing them, I'm not dominating them. I'm just simply sitting here, being a part of them, and letting them come up and smell me and nibble and taste test and do whatever it is. And if they come up underhand and they don't seem like it bothers them, I will give them pets. But the moment they move away, I stop. Really with these animals, when it comes to pressure and release, their reward is for you to walk away. Goats are a little bit more different than horses though, so they eventually do really want to be around you. But I think it's during these first couple of weeks that they're here that it's really important to practice pressure and release, that once you're done interacting with them, you do move completely away, because that's their reward. Because sometimes when they're in a new place and you're a new person, it's not a reward for you to be on top of them and trying to pet them and trying to make them do this and make them do that. It actually stresses them out, and it can give them that wrong first impression. So when I'm done being in here and they've been calm with me, we haven't ended on a bad note, like them being super duper scared of anything that I'm doing, which could just be sitting here. But once, they seem like they're pretty calm with me, which they are right now. They're eating. She's got her back to me. So, I mean, if she were really worried about me, she would not have her back to me. She would be facing me forward, ears forward, locked on eyes, and she'd be really still, like deer do. It's kind of like that. Maybe they see me, maybe they don't type deal. So I've been in here for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and release. I'm going to give them their reward. They've been over here a couple times. They're eating. They're presenting their backs to me, which means that they know I'm not a threat. They're comfortable with me. So I'm going to get up quietly if the corn above me will let me get up quietly. And I'm going to leave. And that's going to be their gift from me, is that, hey, I was in here. You were cool with me. Yeah, I don't need to be in here anymore. And you can relax without me in your presence and worrying if I'm going to do something. Baby. Finger nibbles help to establish a bond too. Yeah. Have a good day, girls. Enjoy the falling potato chips from the trees, aka the leaves. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's back there. You see the coyote right there? You see, he's standing right there. The donkeys told me it was there. They're both looking at it. So hopefully, Marky's coming with a gun. Do you see it, babe? So Mark and I are both out dirt now. The bad thing is the donkeys did exactly what we've got them for. Donkeys really aren't livestock guardians, but they are wonderful alarms when something's off. And I was in there feeding and I was sitting with the goats and both their heads popped up from eating and they looked back here and sure enough, it was a coyote. The only bad thing is that back here in this corner, just past this corner is a busy highway. And after our land, it starts to like dip down, which means a projectile from a bullet. If there's no guarantee that it's going to hit earth or trees behind it, it could technically go into oncoming traffic and hurt somebody. So we're in a little bit of a conundrum. We've got the dogs on it. We put them over the fence to let them run and do their thing because, I mean, this coyote let us get probably within 40 yards, but because of where it's at, even though both Mark and I both have our rifles, it's just not safe to shoot. And you should never shoot at something you don't know what's behind it. And that's just common sense with firearm safety. But it stood there for a very long time. The donkeys told us it was there. I kind of at a loss. I feel like it's almost time for a livestock guardian dog.
I need him to show up when I'm not in the bathroom too.
Yeah, I called Mark and he was like, well, I'm kind of in the bathroom doing a little business. And I was like, well, pinch it off and come on. And he did, but the bad thing is it stayed in this corner.
Our stuff was ready by the bathroom door.
We tend to keep tools of the trade readily available when we are home for times like this. It's just this coyote never stands still in an area where we shoot. Like where we just saw it tear out across this field right here, and there's a big berm where the land swoops up. And it would be a perfect alley to shoot at and not have to worry about hurting anybody or hitting something we didn't want it to hit. But it was over here. And if you listen hard enough, you might actually even be able to hear the highway that's not that far off. So we literally have this alleyway behind us into this berm to shoot, or we have down in against this fence line where there's a ton of cover and we usually can't see coyotes. We might see if we can talk to the neighbor about clearing that. But Aunt June's back from tailing. Mark picked her up and promptly put her over the fence, and Django was already out and coming around the field, which he would be zero help. He'd be food. He might be bait, or June might actually be able to do something. But it's an ongoing issue here. We saw him, or what was that, early last week, babe? Yeah. When you were off a couple of days. Haven't seen him since. Like, we know usually most wild game is on a routine. You can kind of time when they're going to come through, and it's usually around this time, like dusk, when deer start to move. And we find early to mid-morning he comes through here. I know what you guys are thinking. If coyotes are becoming so prevalent here, why have we not gotten a livestock guardian dog or two? And the simple answer is these donkeys, these miniature donkeys. Now, I know they are not livestock guardians in any sense. They are prey when it comes down to it. And when they're put into dicey situations with a coyote or two, push comes to shove, they will flee. They will not try to protect their charges. Donkeys will approach predators because they tend to be very territorial, not because they want to protect their charges like a livestock guardian dog does. But the bad thing about donkeys as well is that donkeys do not like small animals. And you'll see in this video Lola even tries to run at a chicken while she's running around and having a good old time. I don't want that to be a livestock guardian dog underneath of her hooves. And donkeys have a propensity to dislike dogs specifically. So I don't want to set up my donkeys to fail, and I don't want to set up livestock guardian dogs in training to be hurt, injured, or killed. So I'm trying to arm myself right now with research on different training methods, how to introduce them properly with these donkeys. I do have a little bit of hope because the donkeys don't try to attack our regular dogs now because they know they belong here. Now, when those dogs were first around, they didn't like them at all and they would charge them. The only difference now is with a livestock guardian dog, they would be living in the pen 24/7 with the donkeys when everything is said and done, whereas our house dogs aren't out there all the time. They are only out there with our supervision and for short moments. So before I pull the trigger on buying livestock guardian dogs, I'm trying to arm myself with as much knowledge and research on training, training approaches, and how to successfully introduce all of these different creatures in one area so that nobody is being set up to fail. And that is a lot of burden on my shoulders, so don't worry. It is in the works. It's in the future. I just need to find the right breeder, the right dogs, and come into it with the right amount of knowledge and research. But in the meantime, we've decided we're going to start taking more walks back in our pasture. Never at set times so that we can never be put down to a routine. We want to make ourselves as unpredictable so that the coyotes just want to stay away from our area during the day altogether because we already do shut up everything at night. Welcome to the big field! Farah and Boo finally get to come out. Rosie doesn't care because she's in heat, apparently. Little girls! Hi! She's thirsty, but not that thirsty, apparently. Come on! Little Farah, just following right along. Poor Boo's being told that she's the smallest one in the herd right now. It's all right, Boo. It's all right, Boo. It's all right. It goes by fast, I promise. Come on, Rosie. So, y'all, it's the end of the video. I always appreciate the time that you spend with me here on Mulberry Branch Farm, sharing in the moments that we share with you and enjoying the journey as we bring you along. I hope that you've all enjoyed our video. If you did, let me know by dropping me a like, leaving me a comment, and subscribing. But until next time, guys, we hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another. We will catch y'all in the next one. God bless you. Bye.